Hey, and welcome, Miss Kira Speaks. Please do your girl a huge favor and stick around to the end of this video if you can. Hit the subscribe button and share with your friends and turn on your notifications because, yikes. We are here for another episode of the Real Housewives of Atlanta, season 15, episode 14. Yes, I said 14. Wreck-It Ralph. Now, it's not Sunday, but your girl is in her pajamas because as soon as I get off here, it's lights out. Anyway, so we open and we're checking in with the ladies. We see Kenya over there with Sensei Brooklyn. We see Candy with Blaze eating her a little toothpaste. You guys have to admit, they have the cutest kids. So then we go over and we see Drew. She's with her sister Allison and they are looking at a space for a mental health getaway. Seeing her sister go through her struggles has caused Drew to evaluate her own mental health. In her confessional, Drew shares that when her sister went through her own divorce, that caused her to have a mental health break, and I thought, the irony. So we go on over to the Rosses and we see Sanya and she's checking her new rollie that her husband got for her. And then she's like, yeah, I have some notes that I wanted you to go over. And then when he opens the notebook, there is a pregnancy test and we find out that Sanya and Ross are indeed pregnant. Now he looks hella happy, but all I wanted to say was, how, Sway? Ross ain't never there. Moving along. She's so excited to tell her family. They go downstairs and, they're doing their little meeting. And then when Sanya and Ross turn around, it says pregnant where? It's supposed to say we're pregnant. Sis got it right away. Dad was like, nobody told me. Sir, they're telling you now. Mama was like, huh? What? Huh? They had to go back up there and stand in the right spots. And she was like, oh, so everybody's happy, giving them hugs. And then they sit down and sister's like, yeah, so we found a place. Well, she says they started looking and the mom and the dad are also going to be getting something in the same development. Now, in her confessional, Sanya says with her family moving, she realizes that having a new baby would be challenging. Girl, we tried to tell you that, but you was going on over there listening to Mr. Ross. But she does say that she plans to get a nanny. Now, she goes and she tells Deuce, which I thought it was a little too early in my opinion. And I'm going to tread lightly, especially with the reveal that we get later on in the season. Drew and Ralph are on date night, and every time these two link up, it's always a problem. They're at the bowling alley. He talking about if he gets a strike, then she gonna call him daddy. And I was like, that's just yikes. So they're talking about how good Christmas was and how busy they've been. And then we get over to this whole mental health retreat and therapy and how Ralph stopped going. In her confessional, Drew says that Ralph stopped going because Dr. Ken was holding him accountable. Surprise, surprise. But she continued to go because she felt like she needed to gain confidence and independence in their relationship, which indeed she did. And I do kind of see like she is making some small strides. So go, Drew. Ralph starts to word vomiting about applying the work and therapy is topic. And that's just going to get them divorced. He just wants her to be grateful that he blows up less. And of course, production is going to always cue that footage for us. Drew is trying not to entertain his shenanigans when he starts to talk about how it's intellectual. She's like, yeah, I graduated earlier, so don't think that I'm not following. She says she can't force him, change him, and she won't mother him. So she's going to focus on her own growth. And I said, amen, Drew, cuz. But because they are married, she wants him to meet her halfway. she's going to need support with the movie. She's going to be away for 10 days. So Ralph is basically like, yeah, it's cute that you're booked and busy now, but me, I've been booked and busy. So basically it's F them kids and F her too. Absolutely bananas, because he comes off so jealous. She brings up Todd and Daddy Daycare, and Ralph is like, he doesn't travel as much as I do, and I love that they have Todd as a go-to to show these men how they should behave. Child, because Ralph makes my head hurt. The producers ask about Vegas, but they don't ruffle Drew. She says it's about them. They're not on solid foundation. Ralph says he wants them to get to that Barack and Obama level. You heard right. What a Freudian slip we have there. And he's trying to clean it up, but we already know what it is. He said what he meant, and he meant what he said. So Kenya is having the ladies over, and she's got a little food, which we love because we know Kenya sometimes with the food, child. Candy arrives first, and before they can get to talk about Kenya's new upcoming salon, Shamia arrives, and she tells the ladies that she's thinking about having another baby. Candy is us. Who's gonna be the daddy? So she tells them that she still has embryos frozen, and that when they did the paperwork that she's the one that has ownership. So now, of course, it's time for surrogate talk, and Shamia actually used Candy's surrogate, Shadino, who I've heard had cancer. Get down in the comments and let me know if that's true, because if that is, prayers definitely up for her. So Kenya is wondering if she's going to be jealous, and Candy's like, listen, it's going to be the same thing just like you had it. And she, tells them about when you come into the hospital, and then, you bond with the babies just like the same as when you deliver. But she's basically telling her that you got to get comfortable, because people are going to talk trash about you, and they're going to criticize you for not wanting to have the baby, and it's none of their business. And she's also asking her if Mark doesn't give her his blessing, like if she's still going to go through with it. Now, I was kind of 50-50 with her, because she already had embryos, but then again, it's Mark, so I'm like, yeah. But Miss Shamia, she wants to be filled in on what had happened at Sheree's birthday dinner. Martell did not pay and was asking for cash apps. Sanya gave up the information, and we see the footage. $1,500, even if it's your last, just go ahead and front the bill, is what we see Sanya saying. So Candy finds it ironic that she invited her friends and that they're going in her man, and she says in her confessional, like, at least she keeps it funky and says it to her face. Child, what is your opinion? I know we done passed this episode like 10 years ago, but do y'all think that Martell should have paid the bill for the people? Inquiring minds want to know. This was another one. I don't want to say I was 50-50 on. I don't fool with Martell as it is. And the people saying that Martell don't have it like that. But, we going to explain this thing in other episodes of Reunion 60 Ways from Sunday, child. That's why I was like, let me just see what your opinion is. So we get a throwaway scene with Sheree going to wash her dog at like one of them self-wash stations. And to me, I really feel like the lady did more washing than she did. And then she's saying that Gotti, her dog, is the ideal partner, just like Martell. I was like, comparing Martell to a dog, how befitting. Like, what a comparison. So speaking on Martell, he calls and he's on the way to the airport. He was there for New Year's and her birthday, and she says that they've both been busy. Producers ask her what he got her for her birthday, and she's stuttering and stammering, and she says it's Alexander McQueen handbag. He doesn't buy, expensive high-end labels. Alexander McQueen's not cheap, but I'm not on their status, so yeah. Again, a throwaway scene. Oh, except Mama still has an AOL email account. Yeah. We see Drew and Candy standing there making awkward conversation. Candy did not like to be called a liar, and somehow Drew is the one that is looking for an apology. But then it's time for a table read. So in his confessional, Todd says that his priority is the restaurant, then the movie. Really? Candy says, sounds good. So Candy says that Todd really needs this movie to happen. And I thought that was a little harsh, but Todd's like, don't tell me what I need. Nah, I need to make it happen. I was like, guess she knows her husband. Candy, Moneta, Shamia, and Drew are all in the movie. Have you guys seen The Past yet? I'm gonna put a little link up there if you want to see my little recap. I did a live. What I was trying to do, but life was life and it didn't happen, is do the big Candy reveal and do episode 16 and then do The Past live. But it didn't happen, but it's already been done. Like I said, I'll put a card up top. You guys can go ahead and check out the replay of my live recap of Todd, Tucker, and Candy Burris. Tucker's The Past. Now, back to my schedule recap. Todd says that it's not based on their life, that they don't do passes, and that Etta is not Mama Joyce. I said, oop, but it's funny because, was it her lawyer? No, the judge at the end of the movie was giving me Mama Joyce vibes, face-wise. Anyway, it's finally time for this mental health retreat. Drew and Allison, of course, they show up early and everything is set up beautifully. They got brain boost foods, no alcohol because that's not good for your mental health. And they're going to do Drop It with Drew. They're going to do some meditation and the whole shebang. So everyone shows up and they're either wearing cream or white. Baby Ralph comes in with Ross. Ross walks in front of Ralph, so Drew gives Ross a hug, and then Ralph's old passive aggressive ass walks around and gives everybody else a greeting, and Drew laughs. I was like, Drew saying, hey husband, and everyone else in their confessional has clocked it. Drew says that he has been distant since date night. Like I said earlier, every time these two get together, Ralph tries to do something nice and he always ends up with a problem. He doesn't want Drew to say anything. You remember last time we talked about Lunchables. Anywho, it is time to get started. So Drew gives Allison a little intro and then she starts talking about how she had so many anxiety and panic attacks in 2020 that she was calling 911 and they transferred her to a psychiatric hospital for 19 days. So she's sharing the things that helped her. Child, they take it outside for Drop It with Drew, workout, and baby in the confessional. Marlo starts to pulling up the website and gets a doggone 404. I was like... So then the ladies head inside to meditate, and in a confessional, Sheree feels like she inspired Drew with her Portugal trip. And I was like, I thought that this was really Allison's thing and that Drew kind of helped her. But I was like, okay, girl, because, you know, it's the show. But Marlo said she couldn't focus because of the smells. But Candy definitely was reduced to tears. And she said that she needed this so much. Mental health is wealth, y'all. I was proud of my girl Candy because everyone needs it. She's so busy, but everyone needs it. So the fellows, they're outside and they're chopping it up, and Ralph stops and gives Drew's friend a hug, and the camera is going to catch all of Ross's shenanigans and BS. So then they start talking about this lawsuit, which I'm not sure why they brought this stranger into their house with no references, but nobody asked me. And Heath is with me on this one. So the ladies are inside eating, and the Portugal trip gets brought up along with Drew's vulnerability, and Sheree asks how court is going because she went recently. Child, they show us this little baby press conference with Drew dressed in all black like the Ome. And we find out that the official verdict comes in 30 days. Now, does anybody know where this court case stands? Because, I mean, it's post-reunion and I still don't know anything about it. Not that it's that important. So she's explaining to Cynthia what happens. Now, meanwhile, outside, Ralph is explaining the same thing to the fellas about there being hair in the food. I don't even think they ever tasted the food. She wanted $1,000, but the thing that got me is, because somehow I think I left it out of my notes, once the food didn't work, the lady wanted to know if there were any other opportunities, and they told them there was like an opportunity for a nanny. And I'm like, if you didn't trust this lady to make food, why would you trust her with your kids? And it was kind of like, I think Drew said that, you know, she wasn't paying them kids no attention. A year later, the Pittmans are served. Drew says she upped it to $10,000, and Kandi in her confessional is confusion, and so am I. Meanwhile, the documents that the producers are putting on the screen still say $1,000. Child, I hope I didn't leave anything else out, but I was trying to make this as short and sweet as possible, but you know your girl is a little too detail-oriented and likes to run her mouth. So Kenya wants to talk about Sheree's birthday dinner. Sheree says she had girlfriends that she's known for over 30 years. Child, Sheree ain't got no friends, but okay. Cynthia was there, Marlo, Courtney. I was like, okay, girl. And Sanya, but no invite for Kandi. And Candy's like, 30 years, but you had Marlo, Courtney, and Sanya there, and you know them longer than you know me. But Drew asked if her invitation got lost in the mail, but Sheree says that Ralph told her that the baby was sick, and she tells Kandi, you can't even show up for group things. So Cynthia's like, you just wanted the invite, but Kandi said she was available, she would have came. But you know Sheree ain't want Kandi there. So Cynthia asked about this split in the group, and Kandi points out that Monietta said it was a collusion. Courtney was fighting for her life. And Monietta says that Courtney called her cousin-in-law a bitch. So production plays the footage, and she definitely said the word bitch, but she was pointing to Sanya. So I was like, the ladies say that they use the word all the time, but Courtney insists that she doesn't use the word. Anywho, wrapping that up, the ladies going outside to take a group picture, and Sanya got another shirt printed up, and this one says I'm pregnant. So she flashes a shirt to the camera, and then afterwards she's telling everybody like, oh, look at the picture, let's see if you like it. And Kenya's friend Akila is the first one to notice. Drew was like, why she couldn't just say that. But everybody's excited, and Kenya's getting baby fever, and it just had this one big group hug, and I was like, oh, because you know, so rarely do the girls have a nice moment, all of them. So we get to the last scene, and Dr. Ken, he comes over and makes a house call to see Drew. Since date night, things have been going downhill. They haven't been talking. He moved out of the bedroom, which I thought she said that he did that a while ago, but maybe I'm, mixing everything up. It's been 13 or 14 months that Drew's been seeing the good doctor. In her confessional, she's saying that they've been married for 8 years and that their issues are transparency, faithfulness, and respect. And of course, cue the production footage of that. So Doc is asking how it's going, and she says date night was fun, but it spiraled into a disagreement. She says that she's willing to draw boundaries, and Doctor's like, oh, you won't woke up and you can't be gaslit anymore, but where does that leave your marriage? She says it's questionable, and she tears up, and she says it's the emotional awareness that she's looking for from him that's lacking, that she's been asking for this whole time. So she says she didn't get married to get divorced, but she's still willing to work on it. But at this point, when are things going to turn around? Drew, we all wanted to know. So she says she's still in counseling, but he's not. She's worried and she's torn because sometimes he's vulnerable. I mean, we don't see it, but okay. She questions if she's causing herself more pain, and Doc says her first relationship is to herself. Child, little pajama Sundays, okay? If you don't pour into yourself, you can't give to others. So we end with him asking her the question, when is enough enough? And that's a very good question. And I will say before I run on off of here, like, even when I was younger and my friends were in their relationship, I was never like, girl, you should leave. I kind of minded my business and stayed in my own lane. Luckily, I didn't have any DV situations, because that gets a little different and a little sticky. But it was kind of like, I'm going to just be here to wipe the tears, because when enough is enough, they'll leave. Anywho, like I said, that was a good question. I'm trying to get the rest of these up before I do my reunion live. Yeah, fingers crossed. Wish me luck. At this point, I'm just trying to complete the list so everything's there. That's kind of, something for myself. And if you guys watch, that's great, and I love you. Leave a comment about the episode, or just let me know you stopped by, and hopefully I will see you in the next one. Peace.